Hey guys, Salina here, and looking a hot mess as always. I don't know if you just heard Zion say hi, but he is like right here watching on his taboo. He may make an appearance, he may not. Sorry if my glasses are crooked. Thank you to all of my most recent subscribers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't seen my last video, it's his 2-year update. It's kind of 20 minutes long though, but there's like so much time in between the last update video that um, there was a lot to share. And what's the last thing? So you guys can go watch that. It'll be either linked up here or you can go find it on my profile. And my phone screen is cracked, so like this stuff on the screen right here is like the reflection of the light off the cracks in my screen because it's like cracked like right there near the camera. So this video is going to be about Zion and his eczema slash allergies. So I'm going to go on ahead and tell you guys the end of the story if you don't want to watch the whole video. And essentially his eczema stems from his food allergies. I have no idea if any of it comes from like maybe non-food allergies, but we are literally just now finding out that he is allergic to egg white, peanut, soybean, milk, walnuts, wheat, corn, and sesame. And this is where his eczema comes from, and also mushy poop, and maybe even this occasional cough that he gets that just won't go away. So I am going to go through the story of like when he started getting eczema and trying to figure out like what it is that he, like why this eczema is happening, or like why he has it. So yeah, okay. So oh yeah, and if your kid has eczema, especially if it's really bad, maybe try and see if it's an allergy test. Especially if you notice that certain foods that they eat make the eczema worse, get an allergy test done. A blood test will be better than the one that they do on the back because he got one of those done too, which I will talk about later on in this video. Okay, so he, starting from when he was born, he was exclusively breastfed from day one. Occasionally he would get a bottle, like when I was in the hospital, I had a uterine infection. But most of the time he was just breastfed for all the way up to 5.5 months. So I want to say his eczema started like to really be noticeable around 1.5 months. And so at like 2 months, that's when I mentioned it to the doctor, and the doctor prescribed a steroid, which I really didn't like. I don't like, okay, so after you put on the steroid on your kid, you're supposed to wash your hands after. And the thought that I just really didn't like is, if I'm washing this off of my body, if I don't even want this on my body after I put it on him, why exactly am I putting it on him again? Like, I know it's supposed to be helping, but I couldn't get on board with that. I just didn't like the idea of putting steroids on him. So I did it, but I didn't do it like as often as I was supposed to because it just didn't make any sense to me. And it also kind of seemed like a band-aid to the problem. It wasn't telling me like what was causing his eczema. It was just trying to get rid of the eczema, if that makes sense. But it wasn't trying to stop it. I don't even know if that makes sense, but that was that. Okay, so he also at around 2 months got this cough that just would not go away. Like, he wasn't sick, he just had a cough. So his doctor prescribed an allergy medicine, which he actually really liked, and he would take this like no problem. But it's cetirizine, cetirizine, and this helped with that cough. I used this for about 1.5 years, and then I stopped because I just didn't know if it was really helping him any. Like, I think it helped him sleep a little bit, but I didn't want to use it for just that, if that makes sense. I didn't want I didn't want to rely on this to get him to sleep, and he was never that good of a sleeper anyway, so it didn't help that much. So I eventually stopped using it. And I wonder if like after he, like recently, he has a cough occasionally, but it would only happen at night. And a part of me wondered if that was from like an allergy, maybe something we were eating or something like that, now that I know that it was the allergies causing that. But we'll get into that later. Okay. So Yeah, I want to say around 5.5 months, he still had eczema and he had started solids. I think around this time, I just kind of stopped mentioning it to the doctor because I knew the only thing he was going to do was prescribe steroids, and that was going to be it. And we were not vegan at this time. We went vegan when he was about 8.5 months, which definitely meant eating more soy, because a lot of the mock meats and stuff like that were soy. But at this time, in order to help with his eczema, we used a lot of cocoa butter, to help keep his skin moisturized. And we also gave him a bath every other day or every few days. Because at this point, we weren't really going outside that often. Or, I mean, I guess we would, but there was just no need to be constantly um, giving him a bath because he was a baby and he didn't like play like what older kids do, like what he does now. So there just wasn't a need for an everyday bath. And I also thought that giving him a bath would make his eczema worse, because I thought it would dry out his skin. Um, which it was actually the opposite, which I found out later on. But at 8 months, he was still nursing every 2 hours all the way up until he was about 14 months. At 14 months, I just kind of stopped because he wasn't eating that many solids and I wanted him to eat more solids. So, I mean, he still nurses now, but at 14 months, I drastically reduced how much he nurses, to 4 times a day. And I would just offer water or some kind of alternative versus nursing. Um, and okay, so you know how like when kids start eating more solids, their poop is supposed to get more solid. And I guess it did, but it never got completely solid. So all the way up until now, I've been dealing with mushy poop 95% of the time. Occasionally we'll get turds, and you guys, I was so happy for turds, like probably a lot happier than what I should be. But with cloth diapering, having um, mushy poop, it just was not fun. And that's why occasionally you guys would see him in disposable diapers because we have a very, very small cloth diapering stash and it just can't keep up with diarrhea. And I just couldn't keep up like with the business and several other things. I just couldn't keep up with the mushy poop and cloth diapering all the time. So, yeah, that was something else that we were dealing with that kind of connects to this later on. So I want to say maybe when he was around 1, if not sooner, I did start suspecting that maybe he had allergies because I noticed that certain times his eczema would get worse and then it would like get a little bit better. Like it just wouldn't itch as much. Like I don't know if you guys like if you go back and watch videos of when he's younger or maybe even like look on my Instagram, his cheeks used to be like super super red. And once I started figuring out that maybe he's allergic to something, his cheeks were just no longer red. Um, and he still had eczema, but just not on his face anymore. So the two things that I suspected at this time were soy and nuts, and that's all I could figure out was soy and nuts. So we cut those down, but I was only about 70% sure that those two things were what was he or like if he was even allergic to them. I was never even sure because again, like if he ate them, it would make his eczema worse, but if we stopped eating them, his eczema never fully went away. And if those two things were the problem, shouldn't it be going away? So I just was never sure. So we would like experiment. I would like, because I literally felt like I was going crazy trying to figure out what it was he was allergic to. And the elimination diet, it takes so long to actually see if there's an effect with this specific food that I was never even sure if that's why I wasn't sure. Like, I don't know. Elimination diet drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. But so we would avoid those things for the most part, but occasionally we would have soy every now and then. There was even a time where I suspected rice, because again I wasn't sure, but I think it wasn't the rice, it was the corn. Like if we would ever have corn with rice, that was the issue, because like corn would literally come out whole and then it would like a few hours after eating it that he would poop. And so that's where I suspected it, but it didn't connect. So I did mention this to his doctor that I thought he had allergies, but the doctor did not want to do an allergy test because it wasn't life-threatening, which I hated, but there was nothing I could do. There was nothing I could do to convince him to do an allergy test unless he, you know, had been sent to the hospital for his allergies. Yeah. Okay. Really? Cool. Okay, he was talking to me. Okay, so yeah, that kind of sucks. So about a year and a half, so 18 months, his doctor's office closed. Yeah? Oh, okay. About a year and a half, that doctor closed down, so we had to get a new doctor. So this is like 18 months. This is over the summer. Oh, you guys, so I also noticed that when the summer started, when it started to warm up and we started to go outside more, his eczema got so much more worse. And really, like, it got worse to the point where, or it got bad to the point where he would wake up in the middle of the night just crying and screaming. Because he was itching so bad. So what I would have to do was give him a bath. Giving him a bath was the only thing that would like soothe him at that point. And we also use this. I like this so much better. So much better than lotion. It's Aveeno Eczema Therapy Nighttime Balm, but we use it whenever he needs it. They have a small one that if you just want to test it out, that is like, hold on, that is like $3. This one is $17 and it lasts us like a month and a half. He stuck EOS balm in it, so that's what that is. And it just kind of stays in there because he stuck it in there and I'm not about to dig it out. But this is what we use. And so about a year and a half, we went to a new doctor and I mentioned the eczema to them. And I just mentioned the eczema, that was it. And it wasn't the doctor, but it was like a med student. And he mentioned that, like, he explained to me what eczema was, and then he recommended some products. One of the ones which we were already using was this, and then they recommended some itch cream, some hydrocortisone, I think that's what it is. And so that was kind of the end of it until his next appointment when he was 2. So when he was 2, that's when I actually mentioned that he might have allergies. And as soon as I mentioned that, the doctor was like, okay, let's get an allergy test done. And so we made an appointment, I think that was like a week later, to do the allergy test where they do the little white thingies, or they do like the little pricks in the back, so they dip it in a solution that has the allergens in it, and they dip it on the back. And the only thing that came back was hazelnuts, and that was it. So that's when I mentioned, well, maybe if he's not allergic to these things, maybe he's just intolerant, because I do notice that when he eats them, they make his eczema worse. And so that's when his doctor, and I'm like so thankful for this doctor, you guys, but that's when this doctor set us up with a gastrologist, I think it's what it's called. They deal with like intestinal issues and stuff like that. And so so the difference between allergies and intolerance. Allergies affect the skin, the lungs, and the digestion system. And the word begins with a G, but I don't know like the word for sure. And then the other intolerance just deals with the digestion system, and that's it. So that's the difference between like an intolerance and an allergy. So that's when they set us up with the gastrologist, which was like fantastic. He, oh my gosh, you guys, like I am so freaking thankful. He did a blood panel to see if he had any allergies, and we literally just found out on Friday. Today is Tuesday that I'm filming this video. We found out on Friday what he's allergic to. So I have my list here somewhere in these blankets of what he's allergic to. If I can find it. Give me a second. Sorry, because I'm so not editing this video. And I literally like just had this list. Like, thanks, kid, for losing my list. I'm sorry, handsome. I'm trying to find a paper. I guess no paper. Because it should be right here. And it's not. Okay, so I guess we're going to do this without the paper. Okay, I mean, I pretty much know what he's allergic to anyways. He is allergic to nuts, peanuts, walnuts is like what was on the test. He's allergic to egg whites, milk, soybeans. Did I say wheat already? I don't know if I said wheat, but he's allergic to wheat too, corn, and sesame seed. So, stop messing with the volume then. He keeps, the video he's watching, they keep turning the volume down on a phone. So he's turning the volume down on his tablet, like, and then he can't turn it back up. Okay, so his peanut and wheat, no, his peanut and oh my gosh. His nut and walnut allergies were the highest out of all of them. And then his corn allergy is the next highest. Did I say he was like the sesame seeds? I don't know. The rest were high, but they weren't that high. So yeah, this is like where we are now. I will tell you guys that it hasn't even been a full week that we have been, for the most part, avoiding these things. And his poop is already starting to get solid. And you guys don't know how happy I am for solid poop. Like, I am super excited because I am so tired of cleaning up mushy poop. And the hardest thing to avoid is corn, because corn is in everything. And like, you know, for breakfast we usually alternate between oatmeal, cornflakes, and pancakes. And he can't have cornflakes anymore, so I have to figure out, like, what are we going to start eating for breakfast, because he's going to get tired of oatmeal at some point in time. He can't have flour anymore, so I'm going to have to find an alternative flour. There's no bread in our area that he can eat because it's either not vegan or it's got wheat in it, or corn in it, or soy, or something of that nature. So this is going to be a challenge. We are meeting with a dietitian. We've met her before, but we are going to be meeting with her again because we met with her before we knew about his allergies, so she's going to help us, which I'm super excited about. I will probably be doing like food hauls so that you guys can see like what we're eating in order to avoid these things. I would definitely recommend, oh look, here's the paper. I found it. I knew it was right here. But here's the paper. I wonder if I can, it doesn't have any important information on there, but here you can see everything on here. So it's egg, peanut, soy, milk, walnut, wheat, and then this other piece of paper has corn and sesame seed on it. They're so high, like his peanut allergy and his walnut allergy are so high that the doctor wanted to prescribe an EpiPen, but his insurance doesn't want to pay for it, so we will see what happens in terms of that. But yeah, so that's really it. That's really our journey, like dealing with his eczema, and I'm thinking as time goes on, his eczema will slowly but surely get better. It's just, and I actually think it's already starting to get better. Oh, I forgot to mention his doctor, his regular doctor also prescribed hydrocortisone, I think that's what it's called, I'm sorry. I'm saying it wrong. Itch cream, though, it's just itch cream like you can get over the counter, but we're doing the prescription. It is a little bit stronger than a regular one, and that has also been helping with the itching too. So that's helped his eczema get better a little bit, but it doesn't make it go away. Like, this whole journey was trying to figure out what is causing his eczema. Because just doing steroids or even just doing the itch cream, that doesn't tell me why he has eczema, and that is what I wanted to know, because I noticed certain things affected his eczema. It wasn't just like a continuous thing that he had. I mean, it was continuous that he had eczema, but it would get better or it would get worse, if that makes sense. So I wanted to know what was causing it. That was like this whole journey. And I finally figured it out, along with the mushy poop that also, so that's how his allergies presented, was eczema, mushy poop, and an occasional cough that just wouldn't go away. Um, and I'm thankful it wasn't anything worse. Like, it could have been the tightening of the throat, or it could have been the shock thingy. Oh my gosh, I can't think of what it's called. It could have been worse. What's up, handsome? I think he's got his molars coming in. But it could have been that. So I'm thankful that it wasn't. So that is going to be the end of this video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to watch another one of my videos, you can check that out right here, and you can subscribe right there. And until next time, deuces.